Just look at
14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
We've never opened with Shaka Khan, I can tell you that. That's 100%. 201 episodes, not once.
how you're able to do that. I have no idea.
Well, no longer. What's up, everybody? Thanks for joining us this Thursday evening. I was going to say Friday evenings. I think it feels like a Friday, being that 4th of July is tomorrow. Most people have a 3-day weekend. But yeah, thanks for joining us. We've got a pretty straightforward show today to get into. Just the MCU mini-series. We'll see what happens. Ironheart, which dropped its last 3 episodes of the 6-episode run this past week. We didn't get a chance to talk about the first 3, so we're just going to talk about the whole 6-episode lot in one shot. Yeah, thanks for joining us. If you're joining us on the Facebook live stream, if you're joining us on YouTube, or wherever you found your audio on the podcast, we always appreciate the support. And I am Ed, and that is not Jason, that is Rick, who is filling in for Jason while he's being the world traveler of the universe or the multiverse or whatever it is he's doing here. Yeah, Rick, what's up, man? What's going on?
I'm good. A little jealous. I've been able to see Jason's pictures on the group text, and he really is in the multiverse. He's going everywhere right now. Enjoying the luxury of being a teacher. It's awesome. But I want to take this opportunity to talk about 28 years later.
Oh my!
I know you guys don't cover zombies on this show. You don't even talk about Walking Dead.
You don't.
So I just want to bring to everyone's attention that there is a movie. It's called 28 Years Later. It's pretty badass. It doesn't require that you watch the first 2, but if you do, it'll make it better. I just wanted to take the opportunity to plug that because I know Ed one day he's going to give in and he's going to have to watch the franchise. It's inevitable.
That's never going to happen. I mean, I saw the first one and I put myself through that. It was a life-altering experience, to say the least. It's definitely my most hated film of all time. Yeah, so I wouldn't hold your breath waiting for me to actually go and watch the sequels to a film that I've never like. If you don't catch me in the original, you're probably not going to get me with your sequels. It's kind of just how I do things.
I don't know. We'll see. Part 2 has Jeremy Renner in it.
I mean, sure.
He's basically Hawkeye in Part 2. It's Hawkeye in a zombie movie.
Yeah, but I mean, these zombie-less zombie movies are just kind of like it's a stretch for me. You know what I mean? It's a tough thing to get into for me. I don't know. It's funny. I did watch the Honest trailer for 20. They did it as the first 2 as the combo, and it was absolutely hilarious because they nailed the walking around hello thing and stuff like that, which I thought was hilarious.
I don't know why you hate that. It's so iconic.
It goes on for like about.
Those are real shots. Those are hard to get.
Oh, I'm not saying that the shots were fabricated. They're absolutely real. I'm just saying if I'm writing a movie, there's no way I'm going to write in 25 minutes of guy walking around by himself screaming hello. It's never going to happen. And they even acknowledge how absurd it goes on for a long time.
He probably only wrote like 60 minutes worth of movie.
It's like I got to filler it with like 25, 40 minutes.
Well, 300, doesn't it have like an hour of slow-mo in it? Or something insane.
I mean, there is something for Zack Snyder's films to, that do have a lot of obscene slow mo and it's unnecessary slow mo. So I will say that, but at least like I would take a slow motion action shot over guy in scrubs by himself screaming hello for like 60 minutes. It's going to keep tacking on time every time I mention it. So it's going to keep going.
I'm surprised. All right, I'm going to change the subject. I'm surprised you liked Walking Dead. That's surprising then, because the first episode was just that.
No, but more things happen in that first episode of Walking Dead.
That's true. What do you think about Coogler?
As a director, he's
just him as like, yeah, him. Like he's on a project. Where does he sit with you?
So, I mean, as a director, he's undefeated for me, right? Like Fruitvale Station. Actually, let me flip this card over because we're obviously we're moving on to Ironheart.
Shout out to Rachel Morrison. Shout out to Rachel Morrison, DP on that.
Yeah, so I'll say is that like Fruitvale Station was great. Creed is great. I know he stayed on as a producer for Creed 2. I don't remember if he was a producer on Creed 3. But I like the 3 Creed movies. And again, he only directed the first one, but I know he handpicked the succeeding directors, the third one being Michael B. Jordan, who made his debut. Sinners was great. I mean, that's a movie that's pretty universally loved by anyone I've spoken to that's seen it. Both Black Panther movies I enjoyed. I like the first one more than the second one, but Black Panther Wakanda Forever I also thought was really good. So am I leaving anything out? Is that his filmography? I mean, I know like he was right. Let me pull this up quick. Yeah, for Val State. Oh, did he direct Judas and the Black Messiah?
I don't know.
I felt like he was a producer. Okay, so that kind of leads me to where
he had influence, but he didn't like make it.
Yeah, because when you're a producer, obviously, everything else is producer credits that's on here. So it looks like as a producer, he can be a little more hit or miss, right? I mean, but again, you're producing, so it's not like,
right?
It's not like that. I mean, I would imagine you kind of like echo the same thing with him, at least as a director.
Oh no, as a director, I love all the projects you named just now. One after the others, more and more iconic. Wakanda Forever is weird with me because it gets a lot of rewatches. Okay. And it's kind of becoming like one of my favorite MCU overall movies.
Really?
The opening, I think, is like one of the greatest openings of all time. Like I can't watch the opening without like tearing up. Namor is my favorite villain in the whole MCU ever. I would love to see more of him coming forward. It'd be cool if he was in the Fantastic Four movie. He can't be, but hopefully that'll happen because they hate each other.
Yeah.
So there's just a lot of things about that movie that I love. And you know me, I'm like not female Black Panther. Like I want them to bring back Killmonger to be Black Panther. Like, however, the more and more I watch that movie, she grows on me. Like, and her fight scenes are badass, like the way they animate her. So, yeah, that movie it gets a lot of rewatches, which is kind of weird, but it's awesome. But I love all of his projects. As a producer, it's one thing. You have influence, but you don't make it. I get that. But as a director, like that's on you, bro. This is your at bat, and he knocks him out of the park.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like I said, I think he's great as a director. If he's directing a movie, I'm probably gonna go see it. Like at this point, he's got me. I'm all in. I mentioned I saw in his IMDb there's a couple movies that he produced or he's just attached to loosely, so that can vary. And that brings us to I mean, honestly, that perfectly brings us to to Ironheart, because he is an executive producer on this, which is part of going into it, which got me excited for it, right? Like, oh, okay, so Ryan Coogler's name is attached to this. I know he has a contract with Marvel Studios to kind of handle some projects. Basically, anything connected with Wakanda at some point is basically under his like sub umbrella, of that. Obviously, Kevin Feige is the main producer on it, but
Right.
Coogler's
Well,
involved.
there's historical importance behind that, though. Like
Yeah,
Black
agreed.
Panther was like invented by white guys and written by white guys for years and years and years,
Yeah,
until that one day they were like, and Black people love Black Panther, like they
yeah,
did back then and they do now. Like he's never been a character that fell out of favor,
of
but at
course.
some point they were like, hey, we should like have a Black voice on this like very important character. And I
Yeah,
think that that's kind of what they've entrusted to him. And you know what? All he gives them is quality product.
yeah, and also like what's been promoted throughout Ironheart too is, and Disney Plus pushes this, before both episode drops, is the Eyes of Wakanda, which is the animated series that he, is producing as well. Um, which is dropping. That's the next MCU series that we're getting. It's an animated series, but nonetheless, an MCU series we're getting soon. I mean, that should be cool. I was hoping, it's funny. I think the Black Panther Disney Plus series, I'm pretty sure we talked about on episode 1, way back on episode 1, because that's when it was first announced. So that means it was years ago, and we're finally getting it.
It's going to be so good.
I hope so. I mean, there's been a lot of buildup, right? For like, man. But I think back then we didn't even know if it was live action or animated. So yeah, I wish it was live action, but it's fine. I mean, I'm cool with the animated stuff as well.
Are you going to be okay with the animated style because you never watched the Star Wars stuff because you didn't appreciate that animation?
No, I'm glad you mentioned that, because like it's true. Like I did notice that it's kind of looks like Clone Wars a little bit, maybe, or like Rebels. So we'll see if it grows on me. I mean, some animation styles I don't love at first, but I mean, this is also we'll see if it's just going to be a mini series, or do they intend it to be multiple seasons? I have no idea. I feel like with a lot of the MCU shows, they tend to start it off as like a just one season and then see what happens if they got something there, to go forward. But also, you mentioned Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which is where Ironheart, with Riri Williams at least, makes her MCU debut, which brings us to, this series that we're talking about tonight. And her introduction in Black Panther Wakanda Forever, I thought she was kind of cool. Like, I mean, she was kind of sort of like the MacGuffin for a little while of the movie, right? Like, where it was like, all right, let's see, we got to get her. The good guys want her, the bad guys want her, this and that. So she was kind of used for that, but then like she got her brief action sequences, so it wasn't really like, it was kind of like the soft opening, if you want to say, for the character in general, right? Like she got her suit, she did her thing, but now she's got her own story that she's the center of. Like where now we get her like kind of real origin story, if you want to say, right? Like, because it wasn't like a true origin story. It was just like, hey, Shuri found her. They took her to Wakanda. They gave her some tech. She helped out with stuff. Boom. Like, that's it. But now we actually know motivations. We get to know her as a character now, which was kind of cool.
She was worth it. She was worth the introduction in that film, though, because she was a quality character. Like, she stepped in. She impressed everybody. She was easy to work with. She can take orders. And then when they told her to go away, she went away.
Yeah, it's like, hey, listen, Riri, the third act, the big battle between the new Black Panther and Namor needs to happen. So we need you to kind of chill out and go fight some nameless people from, Namor's army, and that's it. We'll just kind of go do your thing, and, we'll see. But I think quick overall thoughts on this series as a whole, and again, like, this is different for us. We're going to, with this show, we usually like do deep dives into every episode, but we're going to kind of just talk about it in general. more like how we do with movies, since it's only 6 episodes and they're all out right now. I will say is that I thought I like the series. I don't love the series, and there are things I like about it. Like a lot of the characters are mostly interesting. Like the main characters I liked. The acting was good. The writing was pretty good too. I felt like the second 3 episodes kind of like things sped up and felt a little rushed. A bit of things were kind of
could have
like,
used 2 more episodes.
Yeah, right. Like, okay, cool. So it wasn't just me. I thought it was just me who kind of felt like things were kind of just getting rushed along in the second batch. And the finale, for me, I thought it was kind of a mixed bag because the fight between Hood and Riri, I couldn't stand it. I hated it. But no, it's just because I'm going to be honest, it just wasn't really a fight. It
was better than the last fight from Secret Invasion. I'll tell you that much.
Well, that's whatever. We'll get to. Yeah, I mean, listen. Spoiler. I'm not gonna. I do like that this series is automatically. I'm still gathering my thoughts on it because I watched the last like 2.5 episodes earlier today. I definitely like it better than Secret Invasion. Secret Invasion is still like the bottom of the Disney MCU shows to date. Like that one still hurts, but it wasn't to that level because what I liked about the finale is everything else not everything else. The Mephisto, and yes, we finally got it, which big moment. It took us 202 episodes.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, no, listen, spoilers.
Spoiler alert up.
Spoilers. We do spoilers here. We'll drop the ticker.
Spoiler episode.
Mephisto finally makes its MCU debut in Ironheart. If I had to, I know this was rumored for a while, right? Like Sacha Baron Cohen, like we heard.
Yeah, we just texted about it a couple weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Like we heard it was rumored and stuff for a minute, but we didn't really know for sure. And we found out yes, that one was true. It's like Maury. Like that was not a lie. That was true. His whole thing I really dug. But just that final battle that was built up because you want the hero and the villain to duke it out, it was insanely underwhelming, which is what I didn't like about the finale, and that kind of pissed me off. So that's kind of how I feel about the series overall. Like there are things I like, there's things I didn't like, and overall that's why it definitely is not top tier, and I'll just say MCU shows at all. But it's kind of like mid-tier, I would say. I think it's like mid-tier, in my opinion. What did you think of the series overall?
I might still be really high on it because I just finished it today too. Okay. And I saw the first 3 episodes twice just because we missed Sunday, so I had an opportunity to watch them again. I'm so high on this show. I really enjoyed it. But I'm aware of all of the stuff you just said.
Okay.
And I've understood that they have a budget to work within. And you know what I didn't complain was of any of the visuals in the show.
Yeah, no, I agree.
It looked fucking beautiful. The camera, the scenery, the shots, blah, blah. It was a really pretty and easy show to watch. It was very easy on the eyes. Remember She-Hulk? Remember that? That was.
I do. It was the CGI.
So Marvel's learning.
Yeah,
Marvel's learning. There's also another budget-friendly thing they did, which was going with Tony Stark as the AI and using her best friend as the AI. Super budget-friendly for the show. And I thought it was awesome inclusion because halfway through the first episode, I think it was the first episode, the shot of them like, hey, like kikiing with each other, like it was like annoying to me. I was like, well, why would you shoot this and then keep playing it? And what it was they were burning this, like Costanza, they were burning it into your head so that So when she finally gets introduced, like you'll be like, oh, like they're the ones that kiki together on the steps, like there. And I thought that the budget friendly things they did like that. Also, it needed 2 more episodes. Like when dude started Breaking Bad, he needed an episode where he just killed like tons of people. To show us him Breaking Bad. Like he didn't do anything. And we'll discuss that a bit more. But I acknowledge everything you say, that there's no retort to it. I think much of that, other than the writing, you can control your writing. You can control your acting. Those are things within the purview of your control. But the other stuff, I think, was just budget-friendly things. And it worked because the show was beautiful. It was easy to watch. The fight choreography was fucking terrible, though. Every fight had a front kick. Every fight. From the first episode to the last fight. Every fight, front kick. And I was like, this is just what people do. Is they just fucking teep each other all over. I don't know.
So I'll say that, I do think I agree with you that the visuals for the show it was a good looking show, right? Like I agree with you. I do think that maybe to an extent, I don't know the budget comparison, but like with She-Hulk, I would imagine to make her consistently look great, you would have probably needed like movie level budget and stuff like that. So maybe they were just kind of like out kicking their coverage a bit with that. Maybe that's kind of because we're going to see her again, and I guarantee you, if she's in a movie, she's going to look top notch. Like, I
mean, she can only be in Secret Wars, right? Or you think they're going to make her a part of the new Avengers because she should be part of the Avengers?
I mean, technically,
like the real Avengers, they don't have anyone like her.
Well, I mean, it depends on what team that gets formed there, but She-Hulk, again, in the comics, which me and you have discussed a bunch of times, holds only so much weight. Like, you don't have to mimic the comics in the movies and yada, yada.
Right.
I mean, she technically was a part of the Fantastic Four at one point. She was a part of the Avengers. I mean,
I love those issues.
Yeah, so who knows with that. But my guess is that, like, all these characters that were introduced on Disney Plus, they're going to have to address them at some point. So we'll see. And I know that they mentioned recently in the last couple of months that I think it was Bob Iger maybe that said at some kind of Disney thing where they were going to kind of try to keep the show's characters and the movie characters slightly separate. But then we get the announcement of John Bernthal being in Spider-Man Brand New Day. So that went out the window real quick. So I don't know. I mean,
they'll get the opportunity, and we're jumping so far ahead of the show, but this show has to do with things like this. They're gonna get to a point, I believe, where they have to reboot everything, and that point's like 3-4 years from now. It's not very far from now. Like when we get an X-Men, like when we're like really getting our feet rolling and we have a Ghost Rider and all these other things, and we get the new Fantastic Four. Like if hopefully we get those things, there will need to be like a rebrand and a reboot. And I think those people would be great to kill off, like a new 52, or like Marvel's done it a bunch of times too, where they just reboot the universe, like Daredevil did. Not Daredevil, Deadpool.
Yeah, but I don't know. I still, that's where I think that there's a difference between the comics and the movie universe, right? Like with the movie universe, I kind of feel like that would be a hard sell, but I think that the concept of maybe, I think they were trying to go with that just because there were some Marvel fans who have complained that they stopped following along because they felt it was too much content, it was overwhelming. Oh, well, I can't watch this movie.
And if you reboot that content, doesn't matter.
No, but what I'm saying is that, like, the point is, like, some people might have didn't choose to see Thunderbolts because, I don't know, I didn't follow the last couple of shows, so I'm not really familiar. I don't know what's going on. Wait a second, Sam Wilson's Captain America? But I also, we've talked about this off camera, but I also think that a BS excuse because I feel like the movies give you enough background of these characters so that you're not completely lost. Once you're in the door and watching and you're in your seat watching the film, they give you enough background to understand who they are. And it's like, hey, if you want to know more, go to Disney Plus and watch their show. Or don't. It doesn't matter. You can still follow the movies.
Why do people treat Marvel movies different? Nobody thought that with Top Gun. Nobody was like, well, I didn't get to see when he was in high school.
Well, there were two.
This.
Well,
like,
because
why?
there were two movies.
No, but I'm saying part one. With Roadhouse, you didn't need to see where he was working before he went there. Like, you can just go watch a movie.
Yes, but no, Rick. Again, you're preaching to the choir.
There's a lot of franchises that I didn't see the first one. You know, like I happened to watch a later one, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool," and then I went back. The Walking Dead, I wasn't watching until midway through the second season. It was like presented to me. I was like, this is awesome. I went back and watched the first season. I didn't know what was going on, but it was good. Why do people treat Marvel movies different? Why can't you know nothing and just go watch Thunderbolts because it's starting at 5:30 on a Tuesday?
I think, well, Rick, I think it's a lazy excuse is what I'm saying. I think it's a completely lazy excuse. Again, like I said, if X movie looks good to me and you show me the trailer and I'm into it, I go watch it. And I mean, I personally consume myself a little bit differently than you. Like, I usually don't jump into franchises in the middle of it. I will usually say, oh, that trailer looks cool. Oh, that's a sequel? Okay. Let me go find the originals and I'll watch it before I go watch the new one so I can, catch up with it. But I don't think I feel like it's just this like misconception of the MCU at this point. Now that we're like 30-something movies in and there's a bunch of shows now, there are people who believe that, but it's not really true. Like, you can watch, if you saw the trailer for Ironheart, you thought this was pretty cool, you can jump in here and watch this show. And when she mentions briefly about her adventures with Shuri in Wakanda, oh, cool, I wonder what that was. And then Disney Plus says, hey, you like this show, you should watch Black Panther Wakanda Forever. And then go watch it. And you can see what's there. There's nothing that happens in this show that if you didn't see Black Panther Wakanda Forever, that you didn't know what was going on. Like, that's total BS.
That is exactly the reason that I don't mind catching a franchise in the middle of a franchise. Because if I happen to watch something and be like, holy shit, that movie was awesome, like it just came out, guess what I don't have to do? Wait for another one to come out. I've got 4 more that I can go home and watch, just like you said. Like it presents them to you. That's why I don't mind doing that. Like, knowing that Darth Vader's Luke Skywalker's dad, what does it ruin? Ruins nothing. Most of us knew that by the time we saw those movies. And if you didn't, you're like 60.
Well, I'm just saying, I don't even remember, because I remember seeing Star Wars in theatrical release order. So I am going to guess as I didn't know that, and I did get the oh shit moment, but I saw those as a kid. Right? So, like, there was the oh my God, like, that's a big thing. So I guess then, for this story, right? Like, so we pick up with Riri. She's in MIT, which is kind of where we sort of left off with her in Wakanda Forever. And she's getting kicked out because she's helping some students and stuff like that with their homework, and it's kind of plagiarism. She gets booted out, and she takes her iron suit with her. So she's like, fuck this. This belongs to me. I mean, you can't take that away. And she just needs to get some funding to keep the suit going, right? Because she's not billionaire playboy philanthropist that Tony Stark is. So she's got to get some funds going. So she's trying. She gets mixed up with the wrong crew that needs a tech person, which is where she meets Hood, and she does a couple of jobs with them. It's kind of a means to an end. She doesn't really not thinking it through. Like, I'm doing criminal activity, but she kind of also seems like she doesn't really care too much about that. She's just kind of like, she's trying to still, in her mind, she's separating herself. Like, I'm not the bad guy. I'm just trying to get my money and get out so I can build my suit and stuff like that and do what I need to do with it, you know. And then shit goes awry, and, you know, Hood and her end up going at it because she makes some choices with one of his, you know, basically best buds, and she gets him killed, and that's where they come head to head, and he sends his crew after her. They take care of business along the way. She runs into a character, which, by the way, I'm going to be honest, I didn't see this one coming. That was Obadiah Stane's son, Ezekiel Stane,
Yeah.
which I thought was
that was a cool. They worked it well. It worked right into there.
Yeah, who was played by Alden Ehrenreich, who was also young Han Solo, you know, in Solo, Star Wars story. Who I also like him as an actor. I've seen him in a couple of other things, and he's pretty good. Also, he was in Cocaine Bear, which, if you haven't seen it, definitely recommend Cocaine Bear because he was awesome in that. Yeah, they have their whole beef, and, you know, they're start off as friends, but then there's another heist that's pulled where Ruri's trying to go ahead and find out what's up with the Hood and, you know, his whole thing. There seems to be some sort of magic going on. He's got tattoos on him and whatnot, and then that whole thing goes awry, and it brings Hood and Riri head to head, and then we find out that behind Hood and his whole dark magic thing, it leads you down a path where you're starting to. They mentioned Dormammu, and I did like the inclusion of the Doctor Strange stuff, and it was magic that was being introduced then too. And then we find out that that's where we get Mephisto finally in the MCU, who was introduced by Sacha Baron Cohen. And at the end of it, I know I'm just skipping through this, so we can hit the parts that we want to elaborate on further. There is a choice made at the finale, at the very end, because along the lines here, we see that we learn about Riri is that she was involved in a shootout, and her stepfather and her best friend Natalie were unfortunately murdered, and she froze up. So she decides that, you know, she's had this. When she builds her suit, she needs an AI. She accidentally, through a brain scan, ends up making it and modeling it after Natalie, which I want to touch that one map a little bit more because that was something that I thought that didn't work for me really. And through the deal with, because if you follow Marvel comics, you know there's usually Mephisto is making deals with various characters, and usually something will come off to pay in the end. At the end of it, which I kind of felt like as soon as I knew Mephisto was involved in the show, like officially, I had a feeling this is where the story was going, where she was going to have to make a choice at the end to revive Natalie in exchange basically for her soul. And that's kind of where that part of it, that's essentially the nuts and bolts, right, of the show. So are there any parts of the show you want to highlight? Because I think one of the things I wanted to talk about was the whole thing with the AI and Natalie. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say I can kind of lead into that with a big thought about the show. A big revealing for the show for me was it legitimized where Ironheart sits in like the strata of Marvel heroes, because she's so brilliant. Everybody knows she's brilliant.
Yeah,
but she can't finish school at MIT. So, you know, everybody else finished school at MIT. You know, everybody else has got their, you know, stuff or whatever they have. You know, but they have it. They finished. She couldn't finish. I think that like delineates her from everyone else that's called a genius. Everybody else that's called a genius is a doctor. Doctor Strange is an actual doctor.
An actual
know?
doctor, medical doctor of medicine.
Correct. He is a doctor of medicine. He had to go to school for that. He didn't just call himself Doctor Strange. I feel like Dr. Octopus is actually some kind of doctor of special. He is. He was a professor. Dr. Octopus is a professor in the university.
Yeah, he's a doctor of like bioengineering and stuff like that. No, the
so all of
these
people, they're
not Dr. Dre.
And she didn't finish. Yeah. And her inability to finish, I think, is an inherent part of her character. And she, like, with her original suit, it had limitations. The Wakandan suit was taken away from her because she was helped. Yes. But then left to her own device, her suit has limitations. We saw it fall apart. Even this new suit has limitations and is quirky. And we all know that Tony Stark's, who is a certified genius, she is a genius also. I'm just saying he finished school. Yeah. He built his first Iron Man suit from what? A box of scraps.
Box of scraps.
Exactly. So I think that this show, showing her limitations and showing her anxieties and showing that, like, she has all this growth. Like, why is this only going to be one fucking season? Like, all of the things they showed that were her shortcomings, is like, give her an opportunity to overcome these things. Like, show that she can finish a project. You know, like, show that these things. That's her character for me, is she shows an inability to finish. And to lead into what you wanted to talk about with the AI, this was just White Vision being created again and Wanda's kids being created. Because in all the Doctor Strange things, what do they say about dreams? Dreams are you in another reality.
Essentially.
Essentially.
Essentially that's what they say in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Right.
Like that's
so like with Wanda's kids, she fabricated them with magic, but then White Vision was a mixture of magic and technology. And I think that this was a similar thing where she was able to use the technology to dream and then bring that character in. I might have been seeing too much into it, but I'm trying to make sense of where the AI came from and not give it a stupid, like, oh, she was just thinking and that's what she thinks of her friend. No, that's selling the character short.
Well, I think the explanation we give, and I'm going to tell you the truth, after we talk about this little AI thing, I do want to get into the character of Riri Williams more, because I thought there's a lot to dive into there with this. But regarding the AI, the only thing I didn't like is that there are explanations that are kind of vague that are given throughout it. There's like 2 or 3 times where they decided to go with it and say, all right, well, she looks like her best friend Natalie because it was through a brain scan, right? Like, while Riri was kind of dozing off, and because they tell you that she wasn't, she was hardly sleeping and stuff like that too. And she was working hard. And that's why, like, her AI looks like Natalie and is voiced like Natalie, her best friend. That part I'm not totally upset with. That's fine. I got to be honest. I think that part is a bit of a touching thing. Like, I understand that part. I just feel like even though they say through like hand wave upgrades, it's just that eventually at one point she has to be projected from the suit. Then a hand wave upgrade. But then everyone can see her, and then she's being projected completely out of thin air throughout the show, when the suit's not even around or anything. That's kind of where they lost me. That's where they lost me. So I was like, wait, what? Huh? Like, I'm not following this. But no, the idea of her AI being modeled after her best friend, the fact that the AI, is kind of self-aware that she's not really Natalie, but wants to learn more about Natalie. And then when the brother sees her, like, is freaked out about it, says he disapproves, but understands in the end. And that's fine, because again, it is a traumatic thing from what I can imagine. It's his sister who was murdered. And for Riri, she, as the show goes on, says that it makes her feel better, like it makes her feel okay. She needs to trust the AI. I'm okay with all of that part of it. It's just the actual AI itself that is being produced at times is where that's what I mean. Like, the actual science behind it is where I felt like that was a little inconsistent, is where they lost me.
So let me ask you a question, because I agree with you. The AI is not Natalie.
No, based on Natalie, modeled after Natalie.
So Natalie comes back.
Yes.
So what happened to the AI?
No, well, we don't know because the show is over at that point. Like, we don't really. That's where.
Oh, maybe she becomes part of Vision Quest, probably.
Well, no, I mean, you could. She still could have her. I mean, again, providing that this story.
She doesn't need to be dead. Yeah.
No,
I'm sorry.
no. The AI can be Natalie, and Natalie is brought back to life through the deal with Mephisto in the finale. So, but remember, because when Riri first sees her, she thinks it's the AI and tells her to run diagnostics, and she's like, "What are you talking about? Like, it's actually Natalie." And but that's kind of where the show ends. That is where the show ends. So, I mean, obviously without the post-credit scene, but it's just that, again, it's just the actual science behind it where I felt like there was a lot of like hand waving going on where it kind of just lost me for a minute with that. But regarding Riri, though, I think she's actually a really interesting character throughout all of this because it's, again, you're right, like you said, she is the genius, and she always makes sure to say that it's of her generation, right? Like, she's the great mind of her generation. She's, she essentially, and she pays homage. They did address what I was curious about going into this was the Tony Stark aspect and with the Tony Stark inspiration, Iron Man inspiration, which I thought they did a good job with handling because basically she builds the iron suit because I had mentioned earlier she freezes up when her stepdad and her best friend are shot and when they're in Chicago and when she was a little younger. And basically her stepdad was a huge Iron Man Tony Stark fan, really looked up to him. And she just felt like, I need to build an iron suit to protect the people that I love now. Like, she took inspiration for it. She mentions repeatedly, like, when she was at MIT, there was an inspiration from Stark and stuff like that, even though they didn't really meet properly. But in the MCU, everyone knows who Tony Stark is. Everyone knows who Iron Man is. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that a younger, bright-minded person who had an influence of Tony Stark and Iron Man being around would say, all right, I can build it, because she even asks, when she's asked repeatedly, why are you building the suit? Why are you obsessed with it? And she answers a lot of, because I can. Because she also is extremely intelligent. And Tony can't be the only person that can build an Iron Man suit. But plus also, it doesn't have an arc reactor. It's powered differently, right? Like, it's not exactly the same. It's based on an Iron Man suit, but it's not a carbon copy of it. So I think there was enough for me to separate the two.
Why wouldn't Pepper Potts just give her an arc reactor?
Well, I mean, the in the scene that it's mentioned, right? There is a scene where her and her and Ezekiel Stane, they do talk about it, where they mention why, because she would take the arc reactor in a heartbeat. But he's like, listen, for all the tech that I got and everything like that. And again, he also has access to his father's work as well. They're not just like available on every corner and stuff like, because we don't even know what arc reactors are available in the MCU at this point. With Tony being gone for some odd years now, I'm sure they exist. Some arc reactor has to exist, but they mentioned that they're limited. So, that
Iron Man 3. It was Iron Man 3. He blew up all his suits.
Yes, at the end of it.
But later on in the series, he had a Hulkbuster and other suits.
Yes, he did build the Hulkbuster suits. Well, he blew up all his suits because he was at the end of Iron Man 3. He blew up all his suits and stuff like that because that was at that point in time. Tony was trying to like chill out with a lot of the stuff and the obsession and stuff like that. But he didn't stop being Iron Man. Like, the point of that movie was that he didn't need a suit to be Iron Man. He was the hero at this point. He technically was Iron Man, is what my takeaway again for that was. That's what was kind of the point of that. But yeah, Tony had other suits. But this also goes back to Riri, though, where again, Tony has the means to keep building suits and improving suits to the nanotech suits that we see in like Infinity War and Endgame and everything like that.
That's because Tony sells his products.
Yeah,
she develops things and doesn't sell them.
Well, because again, she only has at the one suit basically at a time, right? Like she's just barely trying to hold it together one suit. She can't mass produce it. That was the whole point in the show, is that she was trying to get the means to an end to fund her project to build a suit, period, and to fine tune. You know what I mean? Like she goes through a lot of shit where she can't power it. That's why she meets up with Ezekiel Stain, right? Like she needs something that he has to keep her suit going. So that's kind of her thing. And then when she builds her final suit to take on Hood, it's powered by fucking magic.
She didn't even build the battery.
No, because she didn't even have that. So I mean, to me, it tracks why it happens. You know, why she can't really do that, and is why also I want to see her moving forward. And I think she's an interesting character because she's quirky, like a lot of people, like Genius. I mean, Tony was quirky too, you know, also as well. And she has anxiety and stuff like that, kind of like how Tony does in Iron Man 3, right? Like she does have those moments. And her interactions with other people is a bit erratic. But her whole thing her journey to becoming a hero, I think, is made really interesting by this because of the choices she had to make through doing criminal activities with Hood, and then making a deal with Mephisto to bring back her dead friend, which she wasn't going to at a time, but now she's going to learn that there's a price to pay for that. Which, again, this show leaves me at the end of it hoping that we get more. You know, like it's something, you know, to get out there. Like we need to get some follow-up to this. And I know Ryan Coogler was asked about it, and he goes, I have no idea when the next time these characters are going to make an appearance.
I mean, they released it in a 2-week span. They almost released it in one day. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's hard to believe that they will make a season 2 unless, I don't know. What's the viewership on it? How is it rating on things?
I don't know. I mean, I know the. All right, let me pull it up here.
It's still so new. I haven't had an opportunity, you know.
No, it's been a quick turnaround, but I knew let's just get a quick update here, right? Like, 'cause I know on Rotten Tomatoes, it was. Let's see. So on IMDb, it's rated 4 of 10, so that's not great.
Ooh, that's rough.
That one's rough here. Let's see. I feel like okay. Okay, here we go. Rotten Tomatoes. All right, so it has an 86% Rotten Tomatoes score, but the viewership popcorn meter. It is. No, I mean, that's the thing. I think the things we're saying are legit regarding around the 86, but the popcorn meter rating is 52.
Ooh, that's rough.
So it's 50-50. Now, I know there was an issue with review bombing when it first came out, which unfortunately is like a thing now. I don't know how much of that they were able to get out because I think they removed a lot of it. Plus, I did see that at one point it was like 86 critics score and around like 75 fan score. So I don't know how, for me to see it tumble that quickly kind of seems to be a hard sell.
I mean, it's had more time to be watched also.
Yeah. No, which is true. We did get a couple of comments in here, by the way. Lou Vasquez, my brothers, what's up? What's up, Lou? What's going on, dude? Thanks for checking us out here. Also, Alex, I watched all of Ironheart because I found out Mephisto was in it, of course. Because Alex, along with us, has been waiting for Mephisto to make an appearance since WandaVision. We also got a comment from YouTube here from Mackenzie. Disney sells people's insecurities back to them. You're in bed with the mouse now. I I don't know if I want to necessarily be in bed with the mouse, but I've definitely been a Disney fan since I was a kid of Mickey Mouse and stuff, and Marvel probably just as long. But I also don't think it's a mandate by Disney to its studios to sell people their insecurities.
I don't know. Kind of like her comment. Disney sells people's insecurities back to them. That makes you have to face them. That puts them on a screen, and you can't hide it, in a bottle. You can't hide it in the bottom of a bottle. It's sitting on a 20-foot wide screen right in front of you in a dark theater for you to view your insecurities and approach them.
So face your fears is what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Like any book would ask you to do, like any painting would ask you to do, like any form of art would ask you to do. So either she made a brilliant comment or she's saying we're being bad people.
Yeah, trying to figure that
one out.
I
don't know Mackenzie well enough. I'm going to give you the props of saying that Disney's making people face their fears.
There you go. We'll stay with that one there. But regarding though, with Riri though, is that I think that's why I found her to be such an interesting character throughout the series. I liked her a lot more in this series than I did in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, for sure. There was more character exploration in the series than there was, in a brief time that we got as kind of like a side character in that film.
Right. And she wasn't shoehorned in. She was required for the fucking plot.
Yeah, she was the MacGuffin for like a good chunk of the movie.
Right.
So I will also say, regarding Natalie, I mean, listen, the actress playing Natalie, I think was cool. Like, she was fun and stuff like that. I know her name is Lyric Ross. Natalie, she plays Natalie Washington. I thought she was pretty cool as well. Like, the dynamic between the two, worked for me, as well. Mm-hmm. And I guess that also brings us to Hood and his crew, right? Which is played by Anthony Ramos, who, by the way, Anthony Ramos, I think he does a great job with this, with what he has to work with in this thing. Before, again, it's sped up, and we both agreed that we kind of felt like he was a character. Yeah, he needed more time to kind of develop and make his, I guess make his true heel turn. Because when we first meet him, it's like, okay, he's a dude who's running a gang, who's doing some like shady shit. We know he's involved in some shady shit here as well. It kind of seems like he's just blackmailing people and trying to get. That's how he's getting his money. They're doing these jobs and blackmailing people, and that's where I kind of feel like there was a disservice. Is when in the back end of this, episodes 4, 5, and 6, right after his buddy dies, suddenly it's just fast forwarding. It's like, all right, we got to get him to be mustache twirling villain. That's it. He fires his whole crew out of nowhere, and then just is being suggested things by Mephisto, and that's it. He has to kill Riri and end the stories. That's where I think his performance is great. I just don't really buy the whole point. That part of the story is where they lost me.
Yeah. His character was kind of cool, but he, like you said, he get an opportunity to develop. They speed run through his second act, and they don't let him break bad. They don't let him break down properly. In the Daredevil series, they would have let him be on the roast a whole episode. And then the next episode, he was like I told you, he would have killed like a building full of people. And then we would have been like, damn, he's badass. So when he went to fight Riri, we would be impressed by his fighting skills. Mm-hmm. Instead, we're like, oh, if he holds his breath, you can't see him.
Yeah, it was kind of, I didn't love that part. I think the character had a lot of potential, but doesn't quite really pan out. And yeah, the fight between him and Riri. I mean, Riri just fools him with a hologram that she's basically giving up and doesn't want to die, and then she just snatches the hood away, and that's it. He's done. End the story. Am I exaggerating?
Iron Man. No, remember what Iron Man told Spider-Man. If you're nothing without the suit, like if he doesn't have
You
the
don't
hood,
deserve it.
right? So it's basically if he's nothing without it, like dude doesn't deserve it. And you know what? The post-credit scene is him trying to be like, I totally deserve it. Like, like he's gonna keep going for his, and I like that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, he in the post-credit scene where we see him going to basically the magic candy shop, for lack of a better term. Yeah, he's basically trying
Sounds like
to
a 50 Cent song.
exactly. He essentially is like, yeah, he's trying to get his own magic now, not through Mephisto anymore, because Mephisto also has a new client at that point, if you want to say, right? Like he's just he's already kind of moved on to someone else. Yeah, I don't know. That's where I kind of feel like Hood overall was kind of disappointing in that stretch, but he had such a good setup. As far as his gang, like his crew goes, I mean, you got Slug, who's from Mandrapore, who definitely seemed like highly inspired by Dennis Rodman. And I don't know if it's because of me being a Bulls fan and thinking that, and knowing they were in Chicago, that I connected the green hair and stuff with like the whole look.
So he's actually from Chicago. Okay. So he might directly, and he's also like a winner of RuPaul's Drag Race. Oh, so okay. That's really like, he's not playing a character, like he's playing himself being a tech like nerd.
Yeah. Exactly.
So like that's what he looks like when not wearing like a big dress. So that character, they kind of like, they were like you guy from Chicago, play villain from Chicago, and he was like, got it.
Yeah. Then there was
he's the only one I know though. I had to look him up. He's the only one I know. I was like, this guy looks so unique. Like, does he always look like this?
Yeah, Jaron Morrell was the person who was the actor who was Slug. There was also the whole the other two that were like kind of like MMA type fighters and stuff like that. I really didn't get much from them. They were just kind of like there to be there in the background.
Were they powered? Were they? What was their?
No. They were just really good fighters. Yeah, they were just good fighters who were badasses who kind of kicked out of things. But there was no like character development really with them. They were just there. They were basically Hood's muscle when he needed muscle, to call upon.
They should have replaced them both with just Titania. I mean, she exists. She would have been fun to have there.
Yeah, I think so. You could have used an already established character who maybe they're not doing too much with at the moment.
Yep.
The other girl in the gang, Clown.
I liked her.
She was all right. I mean, but again, not much there. I don't think past just, hey, I'm another techie person who is in the gang.
She reminded me of Toad from X-Men. I don't know why I kept getting like a Toad vibe from her. I dug her character. She's of the gang. She was probably my second favorite member.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Eric Andre plays a character named Rampage who gets murdered during this. He was the original tech guy. The whole running joke with him being Rampage when no one wanted to call him Rampage, I mean, that was fun. I thought that was kind of funny. He's always kind of fun to see that was in there. The dude, but also, though, Cousin John is the guy who is Parker. Yeah. Parker's, like, right-hand guy in the gang, who's the one who probably gets the most character development in this. I thought he was an interesting character. He's the one who, like, recruits Riri, brings her in to the gang when they want to go ahead and they see Riri with her suit and they see that she can be of value to the gang. I liked his character. I thought it was interesting. There was some good stuff going on, but then obviously when Riri kind of gets him killed, then that goes out the window. He was my second favorite member of the gang, or maybe first overall, honestly, because
he was my favorite member of the gang.
Yeah. I liked him. Yeah. And then I guess Ezekiel Stain. We talked about him a little bit earlier. I thought it was pretty cool. I'm, the whole thing where he gets the upgrade with the tech that kind of reminded me of Iron Man 3.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, where they
it
kind
was
of
a
like,
lot like it.
yeah, with
I have
Nemesis.
thoughts on Iron Man 3 though.
Yeah, with Extremis. We didn't actually cover that movie yet, which we definitely want to get into that. No, we did. We were gonna get into the Iron Man movies soon.
Because the Mephisto power that Hood had, right? Since we were on Hood, his whole the like red kind of glow on him, it made me think of Extremis immediately. Also, the dude from that movie went from super geeky nerd to like super suave guy, like scene to scene. If you're gonna tell me somebody made a deal with Mephisto, and they never really explained, he had the same problem that Hood had here. He couldn't control his power. He needed like a way to control it to not blow up. And I feel like it's not Mephisto, but it reminded me a lot. Like watching this reminded me of that. It would have been cool if it would have been.
Well, I mean, the next character I was going to say we should touch on then is Sasha Baron Cohen's Mephisto. So, I mean, listen, he's in the finale. I think he does an excellent job in the scenes he's in. He's kind of scene stealing in a way. He definitely has like an intimidating, unsettling presence when he's on screen. And I thought he was pretty awesome. I really hope we get to see a lot more of him. But he also mentions though that he has other clients. He mentions, Ringo Starr being one, and a bunch of millionaires and stuff like that.
Forbes
But
100, yeah.
I know there is definitely speculation I've seen. What other MCU characters could he have made deals with previously? Because I kind of feel like that would be interesting. Like you mentioned, was he behind? What's his face from Iron Man 3?
I couldn't remember his name just now. Man.
I'll get it quickly. Guy Pearce's character. I will have it. Aldrich Killian.
Needed Jamie.
Aldrich Killian. Yeah. So maybe he was behind him. I know there were people suggesting that he was behind Mysterio, possibly too, where he kind of had this like rise to power, fairly quickly and everything like that. Mm. I thought that was anything because really what Mephisto gives Parker to become Hood, and they show it like, I think it was like influence because they say Mephisto does influence. He makes suggestions to you to steer you to do the things that, you supposedly want. And in this, like he gets his gang to give him the money and the power and the disgustingly rich way he wants to be. So I guess I could see where Mysterio would fit that bill. Yeah, no, you're right. Maybe
I think the biggest one from the thinking like this is probably Howard Stark too.
Okay.
Look, think about how he died. Like how he died, like he had to do with the development of that whole situation that eventually led to his and his wife's death.
With the Winter Soldier.
And Howard Stark was not Tony Stark as far as like brilliant, because in Agent Carter, like he was good, but he like Tony Stark would have like figured out a way to like, and his father even said that in the hologram message to Tony when he was like, you're gonna be better than me because you'll have more technology than me.
Yeah, because he was behind his time. Yeah, he was ahead of his time, but he didn't have the means to do it.
Right. But when he started out, he wasn't necessarily ahead of his time. So he's someone else I think that can be considered. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I see where you're going with that. I'm not sure if I would. I'm not sure if I would love that because I think that would cast upon like somewhat of an evil type surrounding of Howard Stark, and I don't know. I kept thinking more along the villain route, Some of the villains that he made.
If you're Mephisto, right?
Yeah.
Why would you go after Riri when you could have Tony Stark?
Well, Tony's dead right now, so that's why.
But I'm saying you could have had him before. Like, why would you go after her when you could have had him?
Unless he thinks that he had nothing to offer him besides bringing his parents back or something. Like Tony Stark kind of had everything.
That's a pretty big given. You know he would have took it because in Endgame we saw him be like, nah, so he would have made the right choice because in Endgame he made the right choice.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I also think
everyone.
But I also think that I don't know if there was a week. I don't know if Tony would have chosen to bring his parents back. You're right, because he would have seen through it. Yes, well, that's why I think maybe Mephisto would never go after Tony Stark, because he knows he couldn't get him to agree to the deal. Who he could have gone after, who he does in the comics,
criminal,
is Peter Parker, when he needed to get out of his shit that Doctor Strange got him out of.
That's true.
That is comics accurate.
That's true.
So, but whatever. Again, they chose to go with Doctor Strange and that, and it was different. But
yep. In the comic books, Doom and Strange team up and take on Mephisto.
Oh,
we could be headed there.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's where I'm kind of curious to know where they're going to go with Mephisto now. If they would make him kind of more centered around the TV heroes trying to deal with him. I did see that there was a article that I did post on our Facebook group about an hour before we came on, that there are heavy rumors now saying that Marvel Studios is actively developing a Midnight Suns film, which I don't think the timing of that is a coincidence. That after the finale of Ironheart drops and that Mephisto is finally introduced, that suddenly buzz about that starts.
They could make 4 specials and then just release that movie in the theaters.
What if he's maybe the big bad of the TV side of the MCU? That's kind of what I'm thinking now, right?
They don't have a big bad. Oh no, they have Galactus probably coming.
Well, no, the big bad of the rest of Phase 6 of the MCU is supposed to be Doctor Doom, who, interestingly enough, deals with magic and tech, which is kind of what we got in this show, was magic versus tech, and the combination of it.
Remember when Thor, what was that, in the second movie or the first movie, when he told her, when he was like, technology here is magic where I live. He's like, it's the same thing.
Yeah,
Thor said that shit 20 years ago. And now we finally have a show that links the two.
Well, it's basically more like one versus the other, which is interesting. You're right. And then Riri powers her suit with magic towards the end of this, which I would imagine is also kind of what she would be. Well, she doesn't get it through Mephisto. She gets it through, yeah, the one that the girl that she meets in the store over there. Zelma, who kind of is the one who is introduced here, who I understand she has links to Kamar-Taj and to Doctor Strange, because her mother was there and then kind of dropped out of Kamar-Taj, and she knows magic now, so she kind of has her own thing. So this show does bring open a lot of possibilities to be connected to the overall MCU, for sure. You got Doctor Strange connections. You got Mephisto, who's basically a Marvel Comics devil, who can be into. There's just a lot of possibilities. So
it's led by a Wakandan side character.
Yeah. So by the end of this is where it all kind of leads up to, is the open-ended things are all right, so what happens at Riri and her deal with Mephisto? We see that it goes on her forearm and it starts to leave marks now, and the last shot. So we know the price is going to start to get paid. So you got to wonder what's going on there. We get Parker, aka Hood, in the post-credit scene who's looking to get some magic too as well. And you have to wonder where we're going to see him next. And I feel like you don't cast people like Anthony Ramos, Sacha Baron Cohen for characters you don't have bigger plans for moving forward.
Right.
So it is interesting though to see where they're going to pop up next.
I'm pretty sure you might have hit the nail on the head with Mephisto might just be the TV big bad. And then there might be a crossover, but he'll be so developed by then. Because isn't like Young Avengers a thing that's supposed to happen?
Yeah, I mean, I know I've seen rumors out there that, because the actors and actresses have aged since they were introduced, they're probably not going to call them Young Avengers. They'll call them, I think there was rumors about Champions or some shit like that. I don't know.
That's a name.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we have Defenders already. They've already used that name.
Yeah, that one's already been used up. So,
Champions is still out there.
Yeah, well, whatever it is, but you do have a team that's there, right? Like you have Kate Bishop, you got Riri Williams, you got Wiccan, who's out there as well.
Yep.
Yeah,
they got to find the fast one. He's still out there.
Yeah, you got to find Speed. So, there are plenty out there. You got Miss Marvel as well. A lot of them on the TV side. So you do have them for them to team up. And also at the end of the Marvels, we saw that there was the ode to the original Nick Fury scene where there's recruiting going on. So them recruiting Riri Williams because they know there's somebody in Chicago flying around with an Iron Man suit, basically. Yeah, you might want to get this person. I think they would be a pretty good addition to your team.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of possibilities for it. As far as an official season 2 to Ironheart, it depends on the viewership, which I just feel like the viewership for streaming shows is very vague. You know what I mean? Like it's not like TV viewership where they kind of just have a number right there. There's just like hours of content.
Cell phones and tablets have ruined attention spans.
Yep.
They've ruined attention spans. The only time someone like me can listen to a show like this is while I drive to work because I'm in my car for an hour. So I can take the time to sit there. If you left me in the house to like watch something for an hour, I'm like making a snack, then I'm brushing my teeth, then I'm like playing with my kid, then I come back and I got to rewind it. And like, it's like a whole bunch of things. And it's because we forgot how to sit down and just like watch a whole basketball game. Like just sit down, have your snacks ready, watch the game. People are always so distracted nowadays. And I think that streaming shows, unless you sit there and binge it on a Saturday morning, people are so distracted. And the viewership, I think it gets funky because of that.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And I know, like, personally, I know I've talked about it. We talked about this off camera, and then I've talked about it here too, is that, yeah, I'm old school in that way, though, because I love my sports. I sit down, I watch my games and stuff like that. I check my phone out during commercial breaks, and stuff like that. I try to put it down, again, unless I'm waiting for an emergency call or there's something urgent. I do that. Shows, the most I do is kind of like the mini binge I did today, where it was 2.5 episodes. Like, I feel like I feel confident about my attention span. I feel like at times it feels like it gets somewhat choppy, but for the most part, I try to catch myself and say, no, phone down, done. I shut my phone off when the trailers end for a movie and it's movie time. Phone gets shut off, gets put away, focus. That's it. Like it's done. I like to lock in and kind of lose myself in the roller coaster, in the experience. And you're right. There's a lot of people who don't do that, though. I admit, apparently I'm in the minority of this now. A lot of people just don't do that, and that's fine. But Rick, we went to see F1 on Tuesday. I shit you not, to the left of me, about 5 seats away, there was somebody who basically brought their fucking phone and had their phone on. You were looking at something when you went to a movie theater, watch a movie? You needed a second screen? Like, what kind of lunacy is this?
That's where we're at.
It's not good.
Theocracy.
It's not good. It's not a good thing. I can tell you that.
The thing, though.
It's a thing, but I'm just saying it's
I think that's the thing. When people talk, they were talking about the viewership with basketball. I think people watch clips. People watch I watch condensed games. Like if I miss the basketball, like if I mix a Knicks game, which is super rare, but if I miss it, I'll watch the condensed version. It's only like 9.5, 10 minutes long. And it just shows like made shots, steals, game-changing plays. And I feel like when I watch those, it'll have like 100,000 streams. That's 100,000 streams that the game didn't have. It was people catching up. So I think that just changes stuff, and the system has to figure it out, to make sense of it.
Yeah. So I guess closing thoughts on the show is just like, I think overall, I don't think it was great. I don't think it's on the level of WandaVision or Daredevil Born Again or Loki or Miss Marvel. It's not on that tier. I think it was more on it's definitely above Secret Invasion. Maybe it's on the Moon Knight.
I like this.
I think it was. I do think
Moon Knight had flaws. Moon Knight had flaws.
I enjoyed it. It was better than She-Hulk, I think, also.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was better than She-Hulk, and I'm not someone who hates She-Hulk. I think it had some good stuff. It had some bad stuff, but it's not one of my favorite MCU shows.
Are we leaving one out?
Well, let's see. Falcon and Winter Soldier. Well, I'm trying to keep it just to the Disney Plus ones because we can go on forever.
Falcon and Winter Soldier. I really like that series. I like that series more than Miss Marvel, as much as WandaVision, because I've watched that whole series like 3 or 4 times.
So you would say
my cousin's in that series. It's easy to watch.
No, you got to take that out of it. You can't play.
He's one of the flag smashers. No. It's not just that. I enjoy the story. Isaiah Bradley, I love. I would love if we got
Isaiah Bradley's great.
I would love if we got a young Isaiah Bradley movie, or just a Disney special. Like just show him at war. You don't even need to show origin. Just show him on a mission. You know what I mean? I'd love to see that.
Yeah, I can get down with that as a Marvel special.
Yeah, no origin, just him on a mission.
Yeah, just to see how it happened. Yeah, I get this Moon Knight, this Falcon and Winter Soldier. I would say, I don't know. I guess maybe it's on that. I don't know. Falcon and Winter Soldier I really liked also, so I would say that was above this. I would say it was on kind of like on the level with Moon Knight. So above She-Hulk. Above, I also like Miss Marvel a lot. I thought that was an excellent show.
I liked it. I liked it, but not really more than this. I would put these on the same level.
Okay. All right, no, that's fair. I mean, I have Miss Marvel above it. Daredevil Born Again, obviously. I think that's top. It's super top tier. Yeah. That's to me. That's right there. That's right there with WandaVision. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's on.
And I hated WandaVision. Remember, I tapped out on it, and I had to go back. Once it went into color, I was all in.
See, you're part of this other generation with this attention span thing, this old black and white stuff. It turns you off.
The black and white wasn't. I watch Twilight Zone every day. like a half hour of Twilight Zone every day. It's not the black and white. I just think that the beginning of WandaVision was like just a poor start for me.
The fact that you watch Twilight Zone once a day, that checks out. I could see that. Yep. I can completely see that. That checks.
You know what? We can end on that if you want.
Oh man. Well, all right. So we basically got it there. So I would say if you're an MCU fan, I would recommend checking out Ironheart. Again, the expectations. We talked about this too. I went in with tempered expectations. Ryan Coogler had me. His name was attached, being excited. The fact that it was only 6 episodes and it was being Echo. I have
I like Echo. I would put it on the same level with Echo, but Miss Marvel is better than Echo. But Echo's good.
Shit.
Echo had ramifications too.
No, it didn't have big ramifications. I don't know. I gotta wrestle with that one a bit because. Oh man.
Where did you put Hawkeye?
Fuck. There you go. Another show that we kind of left off. Fuck. We're not doing a great job at this. All right. So I will say top tier again. Here we go. Marvel shows. You got WandaVision, Daredevil, Born Again. Then I would say right below that is where I would have Loki. I would have Miss Marvel. I would have Hawkeye is right there. I actually bullshit. No, I don't know. I really liked Hawkeye. I would probably say that's on the second tier, right there with Loki.
Hawkeye had the best ending of any of these shows, in my opinion. The Rockefeller Center fight was fucking awesome, and then the Kingpin fight. Remember, it was both.
With Echo. It was Echo and Kingpin also, and then it was Kate Bishop.
Mm-hmm.
I would still say though, I think Hawkeye is slightly below Daredevil, Born Again, and WandaVision. I think it's on that second tier for me. And then, then I would say Echo. I think I have above She-Hulk. And Ironheart, I would probably say it's on the level with Echo. I think. Yeah, I think I would say that. And again, I also didn't hate Echo, but I think, or maybe I don't know, maybe I would give this a slightly above Echo though. I'm gonna be honest, I might go with this above Echo because even though it has Kingpin and stuff like that and ramifications, we don't know what the ramifications of the show are yet. So I think no, we don't. We just
played out. That's true.
No, it hasn't played out yet. We'll see where it goes from here. So I would say it's there. Hawkeye is above this stuff in my book.
Yep.
Secret Invasion, definitely at the bottom.
Yeah.
Totally dropped the ball, shit the pants in the fucking finale. Still pisses me off to this day.
Where do you put What If? Since What If is a running story and not a bunch of one-offs, where does it fit in there?
I liked the first season of What If. I thought the second season was okay. I didn't like the third season at all.
So what tier do you drop it into?
Probably like on the She-Hulk tier. It's not the bottom, but slightly above that. And if we're going to get into it now, if we're going this far into it, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, I think, is probably top tier or second tier. One above. For Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man was awesome.
I could put it into second tier just because not enough has happened on it yet.
Yeah, but there's some pretty fucking cool shit, man. So I would put that there. And X-Men 97
is top tier.
Yeah, that was fucking awesome.
Yeah, X-Men 97 awesome. Is top tier. I was watching it the other day when Magneto magnetized the Earth. It was Remember My Name, Remember the Name.
Yes,
excellent episode.
So went out like such a badass.
Yeah, that was a dope one. Well, we'll be getting him in the MCU.
Yeah, at some point, MCU proper. All right. Well, I think that does it for us then on this Thursday evening. Thanks for joining us as always. If you're joining us on the Facebook live stream, be sure to check out Granny's Peach Tea's Facebook group, where we share a lot of trailers and articles and whatnot, other kind of good news revolving comic book stuff there. So you can check that out. A lot of fun stuff there. Also, you can catch our last episodes there as well. Check out Pop Culture Pros and popculturepros.com. That's who we are presented by. And wherever you find your audio-only podcast or on YouTube, subscribe to Pop Culture Pros. Rick, you have your own comic book that you've been writing and putting together as well. You want to plug that?
Hop on Facebook. It's called Confidence Man and Kid Never Die. It's easy to find. There's nobody else called Confidence Man and KND.
It's original.
But yeah, hop on there, go like the page. There's going to be some issues coming out soon. So, but you got to go like it and follow. That way you'll be aware of what's going on.
For sure. So, cool stuff there as well. All right, and we will be back next week. We got a pretty big week coming up, though. No shows next week, but Superman, the DCU, James Gunn and Peter Safran's DCU kicks off on the big screen next week, so we will be talking about that. Might have some other guests on the panel as well. Unfortunately, Jason won't be back next week for Superman, but we'll get his thoughts whenever he comes back from his Street Fighter 2 World Tour he's doing with the little plate and stuff like that. So
Japan,
China. So hopefully Jason's having a good time and stuff like that if he does catch our episode. Enjoy your travels, buddy. We'll see you soon. And for everyone here, happy 4th of July weekend. Have some fun, have some barbecue, light off some fireworks. Be careful doing it wherever you live. In other places, don't light off the fireworks. However that works for you. I miss lighting off fireworks. I used to do it as a kid all the time. So just couldn't.
Got all my fingers because I never really did it.
Dude, one blew up in my hand one time, but thankfully healed perfectly. It's bad stuff. Right, well, go ahead. Happy birthday, America, and we'll see you next week. Peace.
Peace.